Hey, it's a gorgeous day here. You just have to see it. It's Sunday when I'm recording this. It's 80 degrees. It's not humid. The beaches are not crowded. Tourism's off here as it is apparently everywhere in the world. But none of that's important. What I want to talk about is books in September, especially book events, particularly in September. There's a few I'm going to participate in. Mainly, the big one I'm going to do is Shakespeare in September, Shaketember, which is run by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading and a couple other hosts as well. I'll put all their names in the comments, of course, for all of these. I love Shakespeare, always have. Hard to read on a screen for me, at least. I don't enjoy reading ebooks of plays or poetry at all. In fact, my poetry reading's gone to zero since I lost access mostly to physical books because I'm traveling the world. Let's see, can you see that? This is my favorite Shakespeare character. Oh man, the glare is something else. Well, probably turn on the screen would help. Falstaff. Love me some Falstaff. My favorite plays by Shakespeare are, I could go through my whole life's history. When I was 18 or 19, I read Hamlet. I would read it back to front constantly. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever written. Not my favorite anymore. I really like the comedies. I would have to say that as I've aged and mellowed, I really don't care that much for tragedy anymore. The comedies are great. I love them. You see their influence in every romantic comedy movie today. Still, not serious romances, not things like the Notebook and things like that. Not tragic love stories, but in rom-coms and sitcoms. It's just classic comedy writing. So my favorites are Much Ado About Nothing, Twelfth Night, especially are my two favorites. And there's good movies of those. There's a really good movie of, I'd say Kenneth Branagh's only really excellent movie. Well, one and a half, we'll say. Is Much Ado About Nothing. It was one of his best Shakespeare adaptations. There's a couple other Shakespeare plays I like by Branagh. Shakespeare adaptations, and he's done some terrible ones too. Hamlet's pretty good. It's just it's the full play. Branagh's Hamlet is pretty good. The one that is always sticks it for me though is and these productions really don't hold up that well. These really low budget BBC productions from the 70s. But the Hamlet one with Derek Jacobi as Hamlet and Patrick Stewart as Claudius, even though he's probably the same age as Derek Jacobi, but he was bald early on, so he plays Claudius, and Claire Bloom as Gertrude. It's terrific production, very powerful. At least it was. I don't go back to those things that much because they don't always hold up. Old video, live on videotape kind of productions. But there's a lot of those available. I think you can find them on YouTube or on like library sites. But I'm gonna read. But for the event, to participate in the event, according to Kelly's video, which I'll link to, you only have to read one play or one associated work, or watch anything related to Shakespeare, and the choices are very wide. I mean, you could watch a modern rom-com by like 10 Things I Hate About You, or you could watch Forbidden Planet, which is based mostly on The Tempest. I'm doing something Tempest related too. I'll save the title for later. There's a science fiction book kind of based on The Tempest, I believe. I won't talk about it too much because I forgot the title. And I want to do another video about it anyway. And then besides the comedies I mentioned, I really like the two Falstaff plays. I don't really care that much for The Merry Wives of Windsor. I've never really enjoyed that. It's kind of like an episode of Three's Company. which is fine. I just don't think it is really as funny as it's trying to be. It seems to try a little hard, but the main plays of Henry, particularly Henry the Fourth Part One, and also Henry the Fourth Part Two. I really love those plays as well. As far as tragedies now, I think my favorite is Macbeth, and I've seen every movie version of Macbeth that I could find, including Throne of Blood. That's another. If you want to see Macbeth and you like Japanese samurai movies, see Throne of Blood, or you could watch Ron. They're both by Kurosawa. Ron is another great one. It's based on Lear, which is another one of my favorites. But Macbeth is just so clean and direct and to the point and really dark. And there's an excellent version of that you can find around with Patrick Stewart as Macbeth. It's more recent, so he's an older Macbeth. It's got some amazing scenes in it, amazing staging in it. It's a film. It was originally done as a stage production, and then they broke it down into a film of some kind. And but Falstaff, there's a great, hilarious character, and I just love the whole part of those Henry the Fourth, the histories, Henry the Fourth 1 and 2. The whole, the main thrust of them is Henry's youth. His wasted youth before he takes over the crown when his father's king. So he's called Prince Hal in this. He'll later go on to be Henry V. Another spoiler, sorry. So I might try. I know that there's a version of there's a stage version of young Ian McKellen as Macbeth that I always wanted to see, that I've never gotten around to. If I can find that someplace. Again, it's like staged, it's like shot on BBC sound stages and all that, and but I'm gonna maybe check that out. And so I got the SF novel or fantasy novel by an SF writer. Let's see if that'll be a game. Can anybody guess what fantasy novel written by a science fiction writer based on The Tempest that I'm thinking of? I'll make a game of that because I can't remember the name of it right now. So that's on my to read list. And I got a book from the library about I believe it's called Shakespeare's Library is the name of the book. It's a nonfiction book that I'm going to read about, and it's about the books that William Shakespeare had access to. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of great writing about Shakespeare, or from different aspects. There was one I read a long time ago, called The Lodger, which was good. There's not that much known about Shakespeare, which leads to many conspiracy theories. But it makes an excellent challenge for writers, and there's some really good ones out there. The Year of Lear is a good one. I think that's 1599, or no, it was 1601. Anyway, it's by somebody. I'll put that in the comments too, I hope. Okay. So I've talked about Shakespeare for 8 minutes or so. I put some suggestions in there. I think I'll put, if anybody's really interested, I'll put links to all this in there. And the other events I'm going to link in here are, let's see. There's 3 more, but they kind of go together. So I'll drop that for now, and I'll talk about that in another video. Shaketember, Shakespeare, get on it. Literally, you can just watch Forbidden Planet, or you can read Charles and Mary Lamb's stories from Shakespeare, which is like children's adaptions of them. There's so much you could do with Shakespeare. Another good one is Coriolanus, the one with, is it Ralph Fiennes? I hope I'm getting any of this right. Coriolanus movie with Ralph Fiennes in it, which is excellent. If you want to see a rare one that's not staged that much, we live kind of in a renaissance for Shakespeare right now, because there was a few very successful movies. They've really gone deep over the years, or maybe more like 10 years ago, of adapting lesser known plays definitely check out the Kenneth Branagh, Much Ado About Nothing. Skip his comedy of errors. Oh my God, horrible. Skip, well, or skip whatever you want. Whatever. Okay, so that's it. So I am going to read some Shakespeare in Shaketember. I'll just announce that and leave the other announcements for something else because this is long enough. All right. Go out, grab your Shakespeare, read one sonnet. Just read one sonnet. Read it 40 times and you'll be amazed. Anyway.